Nanni Moretti's 1984 film Bianca. It's really not just a movie. It's a cult classic, for sure, but it's also a statement about a generation, and it's this hilarious, kind of unsettling dive into one of the most complex minds in cinema. So let's get into it. All right, so this is our guy, Michel Apicella. He's just moved into a new apartment, and he is a man with a very particular worldview. You see, he's a math teacher, and he absolutely craves a world that's as clean and predictable as an equation, where everything has its place and just follows a logical routine. And boom, right there you have the central conflict of the entire film. Michel's deep, deep need for order is constantly slamming up against the messy, unpredictable, and frankly, illogical reality of being human, especially when it comes to love. Now, to really get this film, you have to understand that Miele isn't just some quirky character. No, he's actually a powerful symbol for an entire generation.
You see, Michele Apicella is actually director Nanni Moretti's recurring alter ego, a character he plays himself in a bunch of his films, and he embodies this very specific type of person, the intellectual Italian youth of the early 80s. These were people who were kind of disillusioned with all the political chaos of the 70s, so they just retreated inward. They focused all their anxiety on trying to create a pure, ordered personal world for themselves.
And this generational anxiety, it builds into the absolute psychological core of the film, Michel's all-consuming, powerful obsession with order. You can basically split his whole worldview into these two columns. For Michele, math is his perfect safe space. It's got clarity, it's predictable, it's orderly. But love is the terrifying opposite. It's pure chaos, total unpredictability, and it holds the potential for so much pain. So you can see why, in his head, finding a partner is pretty much an impossible task. And this just shows you exactly what we're talking about. On the left, that's his closet, a perfect, symmetrical collection of identical shoes. That is the world he wants. And on the right, that's the messy and infested reality he finds in his neighbor's apartment. That is the chaos he is desperately trying to run away from. But here's where it gets a little creepy. Michel isn't just passively observing all this chaos, he is an active and intensely anxious judge. From his apartment window, he secretly watches his neighbors, critiquing everything, their relationships, how they act, and yep, even their choice of shoes. He just can't stop himself from trying to impose his own sense of moral correctness on everybody around him.
Now, all of this personal obsession plays out against a backdrop that is, well, it's anything but ordinary. The film creates this strange, surreal, and really funny world, and it's all centered around his new job.
You just can't put Bianca into a single box. It's what critics call a contaminated genre. I mean, it feels like a comedy. It's got the heart of a love drama, but then suddenly a mystery plot kicks in, and it even starts to feel like a parody of those classic Italian thriller films, the giallo. In the heart of all this surrealism is this place, the Marilyn Monroe School. It's an experimental high school that is just bizarre. Right away, it sets this tone where you feel like literally anything could happen. Just how bizarre are we talking? Well, the history teacher gives entire lectures on 60s pop singers, and there's a fully working jukebox sitting right there in the classroom. It's this strange, funny environment that's just the perfect setting for Michel's mind to start unraveling. But right in the middle of all this quirky comedy, the plot takes a really dark turn. People in Michel's life, his neighbors, people he knows, they start to mysteriously disappear or turn up dead. And suddenly, a police inspector starts taking a very, very close look at our oddball math teacher.
So how does he make all these strange elements work together? To understand that, we have to look at the director's unique filmmaking style.
Moretti has this really distinct cinematic language. His camera is usually static, just observing all these bizarre events with a deadpan, almost detached feeling. He'll use these super lighthearted 60s pop songs, but he plays them over moments of intense anxiety, which is just brilliant. The story itself isn't straightforward. It's more like a collection of weird little episodes. And maybe most famously, Michele will often just break the fourth wall and speak his anxieties directly to us, the audience. Just look at this shot. It's Michel, all alone in a boat, just watching other couples. The camera just sits there, watching him watch them. This kind of static, observational framing is pure Moretti. It creates this perfect signature mix of dry comedy and this kind of intellectual distance from the character's inner turmoil.
Okay, so as this mystery gets deeper and deeper, Michel's entire philosophy is pushed to its absolute breaking point. And we get to see what happens when that desire for order becomes truly destructive.
And the catalyst for all of this is Bianca, a new French teacher at the school.
As Michelle starts to fall for her, he's forced to confront the one thing he cannot control, calculate, or predict: love. This relationship is the ultimate emotional chaos that he has spent his entire life trying to avoid.
Which brings us right back to that big question, doesn't it? With people disappearing all around him and his behavior being so odd, he is the prime suspect. But is he really a cold-blooded killer? Well, the answer is so much stranger than a simple yes or no. During a police interrogation, Michelle just breaks down, and he reveals that, yes, he is responsible for what happened to his neighbors, but not because he killed them. He did it by manipulating their lives to fit his own rigid moral criteria.
What does that even mean? It means his obsession with fixing the chaos in other people's lives became literal. He saw his neighbors as unhappy, so his solution was to secretly rearrange their lives for them, even physically moving their furniture around, all to impose his own bizarre vision of a perfect, orderly existence. It's a kind of madness all its own.
And if you're looking for a neat conclusion, you're not going to get one. The film ends on this ambiguous note, with Michelle just trapped. He's trapped by this profound loneliness and his complete and utter inability to just cope with the beautiful, unpredictable mess that is human life.
And that's really the question the movie leaves you with, isn't it? You start to think about your own life. How much control do we try to exert? And at what point does that desperate desire for order cross a line and become its own kind of madness?